They say the hardest prison to escape isn't made of concrete or steel. It's built inside the mind. I never understood that until I realized how deeply I was chained to the opinions of others. It's strange how invisible chains can weigh more than real ones. You can walk through the world smiling, working, succeeding, and still be trapped. Not by walls, but by whispers. Not by bars, but by the constant aching need to be seen, approved of, and liked. It starts small, it always does. A compliment that makes your day, a criticism that ruins your week. Someone praises you at work and suddenly you feel like you matter. Someone ignores your message and suddenly you feel like you don't. You don't notice the pattern at first because it hides behind normal life. You tell yourself you just care about what people think. But that's how the prison builds itself, one tiny approval at a time. In this world, validation is the new oxygen. We scroll for it, post for it, dress for it, live for it. Every click, like, or nod is a breath we can't seem to live without. We pretend we're confident, but we're all just holding our breath until the next dose of approval arrives. When I was younger, I believed validation was proof of worth. If people liked me, I was doing something right. If they didn't, something must be wrong with me. I remember shaping myself like clay to fit into every mold that would have me. With friends, I was funny. With teachers, I was smart. With colleagues, I was agreeable. With family, I was dependable. I became everyone's version of who I should be, except my own. It's a quiet form of self-erasure, pretending to be what everyone needs, just so they'll keep you around. You think you're surviving, but you're really dissolving, piece by piece, until one day you catch your reflection and don't recognize the person staring back. It hit me one night after a dinner party. Everyone had been laughing, the kind of surface laughter that fills a room but never reaches the heart. I had told stories, cracked jokes, been the version of myself that always won people over. But when I came home, I sat in the dark kitchen and felt nothing. Not emptiness, just nothing. Like I had left my soul somewhere else and forgotten where. That's when it dawned on me, I didn't actually exist outside other people's eyes. I only felt alive when I was being perceived. I had confused attention with existence. That realization hurt more than heartbreak because it meant that I had built my entire life on something fragile, on the shifting, unreliable approval of others. It's like trying to build a house on the surface of the ocean. You can decorate it, expand it, pretend it's stable, but it will always sink. Validation addiction is subtle. It hides behind ambition, kindness, even love. You can chase success and tell yourself you're working hard when really you're chasing applause. You can give endlessly to others and call it compassion when secretly you're just hoping to be seen as good. It's a beautiful kind of poison, sweet at first, then slowly corrosive. I once read that he who looks for approval has already condemned himself. And I think that's true, because the moment you let others define your worth, you surrender your freedom. You hand over the keys to your mind and let them decide when you can feel good about yourself. But what makes it so hard to break free is that validation feels like love. When someone praises you, it's warm and affirming. When they ignore you, it stings like rejection. The brain doesn't know the difference. It just knows pleasure and pain. And so you keep chasing the pleasure, even when it costs you your peace. Breaking that cycle isn't easy. It's like stepping off a stage after performing for your whole life. The silence is deafening. You start wondering, who am I when no one's watching? What do I actually want, not what looks good wanting? For me, the shift began slowly. I stopped announcing everything I was doing. I stopped checking who viewed my posts. I stopped chasing validation in conversations, waiting for approval disguised as agreement. At first, it felt like losing oxygen. The silence from the world was suffocating. But with time, I realized something miraculous. Beneath the silence was stillness, and beneath stillness was freedom. Stillness is where the real you begins to speak. The one who doesn't care about applause, the one who doesn't perform, the one who knows that worth isn't earned, it's remembered. There's a quiet strength in not needing to explain yourself, in not caring who approves or disagrees. You start to notice that validation loses power the moment you stop giving it meaning. People's opinions are just reflections of their own minds, distorted mirrors that say more about them than about you. We live in a time where everyone wants to be seen, but no one wants to see themselves. And that's the tragedy of modern life. We mistake visibility for value. But being visible isn't the same as being real. You can be seen by millions and still be completely unseen for who you truly are. I remember one morning sitting at a cafe, watching a young woman across the room take photos of her coffee for almost 10 minutes. She adjusted the cup, the lighting, her hair, the background. Finally, she smiled at her phone, posted the picture, and slumped back with a sigh. It hit me then. She wasn't drinking coffee. She was drinking approval. And I realized I had done the same thing in so many forms. We think we want success, beauty, or belonging, but most of the time, we just want to be validated for wanting those things. There's an old Stoic principle that says, you can't control what others think, but you can control what you make of it. And maybe that's where freedom begins, in realizing that your worth doesn't fluctuate based on external noise. I learned to practice small rebellions. When someone didn't like me, I stopped trying to fix it. When I failed, I stopped apologizing for existing. When I succeeded, I stopped needing to prove it. It's liberating. Terrifying at first, but liberating. Eventually, I understood that validation is a mirage. You chase it thinking it will quench your thirst, but the closer you get, the further it runs. Because no matter how much approval you receive, your mind will always ask for more. It's never enough until you decide it is. The truth is, people's opinions are fleeting. Today they love you, tomorrow they forget you. But the opinion you hold of yourself, that's the one that shapes your entire existence. So I began rebuilding that opinion, not through success or praise, but through quiet integrity. I started keeping promises to myself, doing things I said I would, even when no one would know. I started journaling, not to post, not to prove, just to listen. Slowly, the noise of needing to be seen faded, replaced by something deeper: peace. Real peace doesn't come when everyone approves of you. It comes when you no longer need them to. Now, when I walk into a room, I don't scan for faces to impress. I look for moments to be present in. I've learned that authenticity has its own gravity. When you stop performing, the right people stay, and the wrong ones drift away. There's power in being misunderstood, in being unseen, because it forces you to validate yourself. It forces you to build the foundation so solid that no external opinion can shake it. Sometimes I still feel the old pull, the temptation to post something just to be praised, or to defend myself when criticized. But now I recognize that urge for what it is, the echo of an old prison calling me back. And I smile, because I know now that freedom isn't about being untouchable. It's about being unshakable. It's knowing who you are so deeply that the world can't convince you otherwise. If you're reading this and you feel trapped in that same invisible cell, I want you to know the key has always been in your pocket. You don't need anyone to hand it to you. The door
isn't even locked. All it takes is one decision: to stop living for the echo and start living for the voice within. When you do, you'll realize something incredible. You are never asking for validation from others. You are asking for permission from yourself. Permission to exist, to be imperfect, to be enough. And when you finally give yourself that permission, you don't just escape the prison, you burn it down. You walk out into a life that doesn't need to be witnessed to be real. And for the first time, you feel what freedom truly means.